Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many people think that when they put their home on the market, it's definitely going to sell and at their price. Often they believe they have their home on the market. It assures them that they can get a contract on their next home. But what are some of the mistakes that move-up buyers are making?
Well, I think, Richard, a lot of times they assume everything's going to go great and it's going to sell right away and they don't have to worry about it. But at the end of the day, the market's a little bit softer than it was last year. The prices are they're kind of the same, but homes are not moving as fast, right? So I think the first mistake that they do is maybe they sell too early. They get a little overzealous and go, okay, I'm going to sell the home right now and then pick my next home, which actually, if they're going to move twice, it's okay if they're okay with doing that. Some people might already have their next destination already lined up. And because they know once they sell the home, they're going to have to move, right? Now, there's been a few of our clients that have actually negotiated where they could stay in the home for a month or even two after they close on their house. And that's a really warm, fuzzy place to be in, but there's no guarantee the buyer will sign off on that. You have to really position the home to be priced very aggressively to make that happen. So if you sell first and then buy, the problem is you got to wait until you sell to buy your next home or to pick your next home. I've got a couple sellers right now that are waiting to see if their destination that they want appears on the market. In other words, they don't have a destination. They know generally where they want to be, but they have not picked their next home yet. And therefore, they're going to wait until that happens. And then they've got a dilemma. Now they got to hurry, get their house on the market and make that transition very quickly. So it does create a problem in both cases. And I've seen the people that basically are in the wonderful financial position where they've already bought their next home and they can take their time selling their existing home. That's really a good place to be because you can kind of relax with the process and you could test the market a little bit more slowly. But if they need the cash out to buy their next home, there's a problem. I had a home seller last year, really nice couple. They had a paid for house, lovely home, and he had just retired, so his income hadn't kicked in yet. They went and contracted for their new home before they put their house on the market. Oops, they don't quite qualify for the new home yet without making sure their current home was sold. So we were able to deploy one of the buy before you sell programs where he was able to get the equity out of his current home without making a payment on it, buy his next home, and then sell his existing home later. And that worked really well. The only critique he had was, Barb, you sold my house too fast. I didn't think it was going to take just a week. I thought it would take months. But I'm like, okay, sorry. Most people don't mind that too much. So there's a lot that goes into timing and strategy. And I would say definitely have a destination or a plan lined up. I've seen some people that get really nice recreational vehicles and they just say, I'm just going to put my stuff in storage. I see some people that go buy their next home first and remodel it, then sell their current homes. There's all kinds of options out there. And there's lenders that will actually help you make that transition even without a bridge loan. I was talking to a seller a couple of weeks ago about there's another program called Recast. Now, the lenders don't really want to tell you much about it because they don't make a lot of money doing this, but some of the big lenders will offer it. And the way that works is you buy your next home first, and you're going to have maybe pull equity out or something to make that happen. Okay. Then when your current home sells, you take that equity from your current home and put it down on your new mortgage, and they just readjust the payment as if you had that money in the first place. It's a really cool way, and it's called recast. And actually, the cost is only a few $100s, but you really have to ask the lenders to do it. You know, they don't love doing that. They'd much rather refinance that existing loan because they make more money. But at the end of the day, it's a very slick way to make it happen. I've seen people do that, and it's been really cool. The other problem that you have is if you want to make an offer on a property contingent on your home selling, even if it's under contract, you're not necessarily in as strong of a negotiating position as you would have been had the house already be sold or you didn't have a house to sell. So let me put it in another perspective. Let's say the seller gets two offers. Buyer number one has a house to sell that's under contract, and buyer number two does not have a house to sell. They just want to buy that home. Richard, which offer do you think the seller would take, assuming their prices are pretty much the same?
I'm going to go with the one that has the least hassle and is most likely to work out.
Yeah, and that's what most sellers are looking at. They don't want to wait around for any uncertainty, especially if they have to wait for not just their buyer to get their loan and close, but the buyer's buyer. That really is a scenario that makes people pretty nervous. And then the other part of that, making a contingent offer, is that I've seen people make offers contingent on their home selling. And on top of that, they're not even a full price offer. So I feel like telling the agent, okay, let me get this straight. You want to make an offer on my listing. You want my seller to reserve the home for them, but your home isn't sold yet, right? And you didn't even come in at full price. So it takes away your negotiating room if you have that ball and chain of a house to sell. So I don't recommend you doing that. There's different ways to do it to actually make it happen. And the way you reduce your stress and increase certainty is actually to use some of these programs that we have, where you don't have to worry about timing the market exactly right. You can actually negotiate a really good deal on your next home. You could come in as if you had cash to pay for that home and really be able to negotiate your terms and then take your time selling. So if you'd like to find out more about that, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And you just have to kind of, when you make offers, you have to think about, if I'm the home seller, you know, how would I perceive that offer? If you make an offer contingent on your home selling and it's not on the market, to me, they're not a buyer. They're not a player. And even if it is on the market, now me as the listing agent, I'm going to take a look at that listing to see if it's priced right. Is it priced right? Is it overpriced? Is it going to not sell while we're still young? You know, all those things are going through my mind to give the seller advice. Should you tie up your home waiting for a very large maybe, or just wait for the next buyer? So all those things you have to consider when you're making that transition. And then financing, there's a lot of options out there. I love the buy before you sell programs because they're relatively inexpensive and quick. And that way you don't miss out on the perfect home. But there are bridge loans. There's a myriad of ways to make that transition and make it relatively painless. So I would not just gamble on the seller accepting your weak contingent offer. And I just last weekend, I had a buyer call me and they wanted to see one of my listings. And I always vet the buyers before I go out and show homes. I want to know a couple of things. Are they working with an agent? Do they already have their financing lined up, or are they paying cash? And they just kind of laugh and go, haha, no, not yet. But, you know, we just want to see the house. So that's what buyers love. They love looking at houses. And then if they like the house, then they go and find out about financing. Well, to me, that's doing it backwards. Why are you looking at a home that you may not even be able to buy? So I connected that buyer with a lender and of course didn't hear anything back, which tells me they probably couldn't buy it. So why am I opening a door for somebody that can't do it? There are agents that will do it. I'm not one of those. Anyway, my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about the biggest mistakes that home sellers make when they move up or down to their next home. And we're going to talk about a few ideas on how you can avoid those mistakes. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about mistakes that home sellers make when they move up to their next home. So, Barb, what are some of the other things that a seller can do to avoid those mistakes?
Well, first of all, I think as a buyer, you are a move up buyer, so you're a buyer and a seller. Make sure you have your financing house ready to go. Find out what all those options are and just have option A, B, and C to make that transition. Because if you don't do that and you just put your house on the market and hope it works out, and then you've got these problems to solve down the road, that's really moving is stressful all by itself, but adding in those other mysteries make it worse. So and plus you're not as good of you don't have as good of a negotiating strategy if you've got the ball and chain of the house to sell. So you don't want to be surprised. You want to be prepared. That's the people that actually win and get the best deal and they get the house that they love. That's how it works. And give yourself plenty of time to plan ahead. Now there are some people that will reach out and say, okay, we're ready now, go, which is fine. Okay, we can deal with that. But generally people would like to know, where are we going? What do we have to do to get ready for sale? What's important? What's not important? Doing this transition of selling a home and buying a home is really a very complicated transaction, and you want the advice of a good experienced agent that has options for you, and we can help you with that. Give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, you've got some hot new listings for us, lightning round. Tell us about them.
I do. And just so you know, I have some wonderful homes on the market. One of them is a beautiful ranch on 80 acres with a gorgeous custom ranch style home out on Judge Orr Road. And it also has an auxiliary dwelling unit, 2 beautiful barns for your 4-legged family members, and lots of views, and even solar. So that's an option. We also have a fantastic home down in Monte Vista, Colorado, priced in the mid 200s. A couple of VA repos that some are really red hot. This one on Brentwood's probably going to be gone by the time the show airs. A fantastic townhome in the southwest part of town on 420 Autumn Heights, priced at $274,900. A beautiful ranch style patio home with a basement that we're featuring open today at 4268 Quartzsite Place, $474,999. We also have an amazing home down in Pueblo, 2-story, 4-bedroom with a loft, priced at $379,000. A spectacular home on Mineral Belt Drive, priced at $700,000 with a 3-car garage. Beautiful home on 5 acres on Warriors Pass in the low 6s. Stunning home that's been completely redone on Vincent Drive, the mid 9s, and then the Judge Orr property. Also, we have a beautiful home up in Florissant on 35 acres with a huge, massive detached building that also has its own apartment, priced at $2.15 million, an amazing lot on Hidden Valley in Lake George. To find out about all of our properties, go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on featured properties, or call us at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900 or barbhasthebuyers.com. That'll do it for this week. Hey, Barb, you be safe. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.